Well, hello and welcome to Instant Reaction. I am Casey Vallier, joined by Colts Ring of Honor wide receiver Bill Brooks, and we are reacting to a Colts emphatic victory over the Bengals 41-14 in the preseason finale in Cincinnati. We didn't mention the score last week, but it's really hard to not mention the score this week because it seemed like the Colts just kept scoring and scoring, Bill. It was a very well played scoring frenzy for the Colts in that final preseason game.
Yeah, the guys that played today went out there and did a nice job. Both Riley Leonard went out there and Jason Bean went out there and moved the team down the football field. So they did some nice things out there, and the guys played well. They played well. Like this game meant something to them, which it did mean something, especially to the backups and a lot of the young guys that are trying to make the team, trying to make it into the National Football League. So it's very important to see those guys go out there play hard, and they did play hard, and that's good to see.
Well, I figured on this episode of Instant Reaction, we would kind of highlight some of those guys who took full advantage of those opportunities today, which frankly was a very large group of guys. But then also we'll dive into kind of what Tuesday is going to look like because that is when they cut the roster from 90 man to 53. And then lastly, just kind of previewing what this next couple weeks are like, gearing up for that regular season opener when the Miami Dolphins come to town. So if we're starting with everything I just laid out there, Bill, starting at the top with what we saw in that game against the Bengals, really left no doubt. 41-14, that is a big victory. One of the largest outpouring by a Colts team, I think, since the 60s in a preseason
Wow.
game. So, it had some historic value to it from back in the Baltimore days. But starting all of that off, I think it's only fitting to start with Riley Leonard. He got his first start in a preseason, and I thought he shined. He had 5 offensive drives, 3 of those leading to points, including back-to-back touchdown drives to kind of close out the first half. Riley Leonard was 15 of 20 for 189 yards and a touchdown. Bill, the rookie from Notre Dame, he really had a great game today.
He played well. He went out there and played. And, one of the things I think I heard in the press conference, he said he tried not to put too much pressure on himself. He wanted to go out there and just let it all hang out and play like he was back in his backyard. Just go back to his
Right.
roots and play like he was a young kid again. And that's what you want to do. That's, as a player, yes, it's competition and it's big time football, the National Football League. But the bottom line is at the end of the day, it's still just a game. And you have to kind of approach it that way. So you want to go out there and have fun, enjoy it with your teammates, and just go out there and try to make plays and play loose. And he did that. He looked like he did that today, making some big plays, nice balls to all the receivers, nice big bomb to Laquon Treadwell down the field, 59-yard touchdown. So it was nice to see him go out there and just let it loose and just play free and have a good time out there.
And Bill, when you look at roster mechanics, that's what everything's going to be kind of gearing towards as we head to Tuesday. Typically, the Colts keep 3 quarterbacks on that 53-man roster. Most recently, the last handful of years, that has been Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger now in Denver. So when you look at, where this Colts team's going to look like, Daniel Jones is going to be the starter. Anthony Richardson will be his backup. But if they're, a fight to keep 3 quarterbacks, I think Riley Leonard has done a really good job clearly kind of helping to solidify the reason the Colts targeted him in the draft, selected him, and he has really done a really good job to kind of fight for that third quarterback spot. I think Jason Bean played well today. I know he left the game with what looked to be a shoulder injury. We don't know the severity of that injury, but I thought Jason Bean did good things too. But Riley Leonard really doing a good job of kind of solidifying that third quarterback spot on this roster.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did a nice job uh, going out there playing and doing what he needed to do to show the coaches that, he can play in the games. He can go out there and move the offense down the football field. So he did some nice things out there. And then one of the good things about, to me, having Riley Leonard and also Jason Bean, all 4 of the quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, Riley Leonard, and Jason Bean, they're all are very mobile quarterbacks. All of
Yeah.
them can run. All of them can throw the ball well. So they do a lot of the same things well, and I think that's good for an offense, knowing that, hey, look, if someone does get nicked up and you put someone else in there, you don't have to change the whole offense because of the
Right.
quarterback and the style of play that he plays out there in the football field that he has to play because of his talent. So it's very important that the guys have a quarterback that they know when he goes out there, this guy can do all the things that needs to be done to run this offense. If it's running the ball, if it's rolling out, making a pass, if it's running the ball, running an RPO, whatever it is, that they can do it and it's part of the offense. So I think that's a good thing. And Riley Leonard just went out there, had fun, did a nice job. And I think having quarterbacks like that on your roster, it makes it easier for the coaching staff to get a game plan together, go out there and give it to the team, and knowing this is the type of game plan we're going to have, not every week, of course, but it's going to be basic around the talents of this team and the quarterbacks that have a lot of the same talents. It makes it a little bit easier for the coaches and then also for the players to adjust to.
Now, a couple of those guys that really helped in the quarterback play from today, you mentioned there, Laquon Treadwell. He had a great day. 6 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown, including that 59-yard bomb for a touchdown. But I saw also Coleman Owen continue
Yes.
to impress. He had 5 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Now, that receiver room is very deep. We know guys like Pittman, Downs, Pierce, Mitchell, they're locks. Anthony Gould, Ashton Doolin, they give you that versatility playing offense, and they're key special teamers. But I would say that Owen and then Treadwell, once again, Treadwell did the same thing last year, had a really nice preseason, made it really, really tough on these staff and everybody on when they're cutting everything down. I think both those guys really put their best foot forward here to close out the preseason. And my big thing that I was saying in our pregame coverage today was make it a tough decision when Tuesday rolls around. Make them really think twice when they mention your name on whether or not you have a spot on this roster. I think both those guys continued having a really nice August in that preseason finale.
Yeah, that's what you want to do, especially young guys or guys that are second and third string. What you want to do when you go into training camp is you want to make it tough on the coaching staff to make a decision. You want to go out there and play and try to do it each day in training camp, but definitely in preseason games to make the coaches say, wow, this guy can play. Wow, this guy made a play over here. Wow, this guy made another play over here. Wow, this guy did a good job on special teams. You want to bring the wow factor in the games and in practice so the coaches have a tough decision to make. And I think Owen Coleman did that by going out there playing and making plays and doing a job that he needed to do out there to make them think that, hey, look, you know what? This guy can play. He can play in this game. He can go out there and make some big plays. And sorry, I meant to say Coleman Owen,
Coleman
not
Owen,
Owen
yeah.
Coleman. Coleman Owen. I apologize for that. But yes, go out there and make some plays, and he did that today. And he's a guy that can play special teams as well. You know, he can return punts, he can return kicks. Today, maybe the punt return that he caught in the end zone, he probably
Right.
should have let go. But for other things he did out there in the football field as far as playing wide receiver, nice catch on a little 7 route there. He caught in between 2 defenders, did a nice job catching, making a diving catch, getting up, running, and getting the first down as well. So he did a lot of nice things out there. So happy for him what he's done. He's done that all training camp. So good for him. Another guy that made the coaches say wow and think that, you know what, we have to find a way to get this guy on the team somehow, some way.
Now with Owen, I want to dive a little bit more into Laquon Treadwell because of everything that he brings. That veteran, that leader, that guy that can, do whatever it takes. But with Owen, this is an undrafted rookie free agent who was 6th in the FBS last year, over 1,200 receiving yards. You mentioned what he can do in the return game. So he is a guy who was in some ways, I'm sure a bit of a surprise not being drafted this past year because of that resume. Now, I know it was a small school in the MAC, but still over 1,200 yards receiving in this past year. But I mentioned there with Laquon Treadwell, he's entering his 10th season in the NFL. He spent last year with the Colts practice squad, was activated for 2 games, but he's kind of that guy. He's the vet. He's earned the trust of the coaching staff, a great mentor for young guys. You know how important that is because there are guys from 1 to 53, and then you add in the 16-man practice squad. There are all kinds of different ages and whatever in that groom. But having a guy who is in his 10th season, understand where he is on the roster, willing to do whatever it takes, those are certain commodities that not everybody has. And it's always good to have one, whether or not Laquon Treadwell makes this team on the 53 or can be back brought on this Colts practice squad. I'm sure everybody inside that locker room and this coaching staff, they understand that he is just a vital piece to what this whole team is as a whole.
Exactly. He will be a vital piece if he's on this team because he's a guy that has experience. He's a guy that young guys can go to talk to about different things. And not just that, as far as experience to teach the young guys and help them and be a mentor to these young guys, but he can show them that, hey, look, no matter how many years you have in the National Football League, you want to go out there and just do your job. Do what's asked of you. If you have to play special teams in your eighth, ninth, 10th year, you play special teams. If you run a scout team, that's what you do. You
Right.
want to be a good teammate, and that's what it's all about. The bottom line is winning football games, and whatever it takes to win football games. You don't want to be a problem in the locker room. What you want to do is show the guys, hey, this is what it means to be a pro. I'm asked to do a certain job. Let me do that job and do it the best I can. And hopefully, young guys can pick up on that. And if they can pick up on that, then maybe that might help them have a long career in the National Football League. But for right now, Treadwell, what he does, he brings experience, he brings savviness to this team, and also he's an individual that can help mentor these young guys and help them in their careers, and not just their careers, but how they go out there and play and practice each and every day.
Now, I'm going to stick to a couple more offensive guys because you talk about when you score 41 points, it's really hard to not stick with the offense on guys that really jumped off the page. But this guy's really, really hard from our perspective because of what he has been through. Jelani Woods has been a guy as a rookie in 2022, had a great rookie season, a couple touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, I believe. But then he had back to back injury riddled seasons where he was placed on IR season ending both the last two 2023 and 2024 seasons. So he hasn't been on the football field since that rookie year. But I thought, to the most part, he really had a good camp. He made the most of his opportunities, made some impact plays inside these preseason games. But the hard thing that he is dealing with is if this team keeps 4 tight ends. 4 of those tight ends, you got one with Tyler Warren, but the other 3 guys, they've been on this active roster the last year and a half. So these guys are familiar with inside Shane Steichen's offense, with that being, Mo Alley Cox, Drew Ogletree, Will Mallory. So for Jelani Woods, he's had a really good camp, but not looking at whether or not he's on this 53-man roster come Tuesday. For you, just knowing how hard it is to stay healthy and be on the football field, how good was it to see Jelani Woods not only just out there, but being able to make an impact in his opportunities, especially today, 3 catches for 30 yards?
It's good to see that for Jelani, for him to come back after being injured and not being able to show what he can do to this coaching staff as far as go out what he can do as far as out in the football field. So for him to come back and show what he can do in practice, OTAs, and everything like that, it's good for him. I'm happy for him. And he made some nice plays during training camp, and he played today, made some nice plays. He's a big, big, big guy that once he gets going, he's going to be hard to tackle. So
Yeah.
a guy that can catch the ball, big wingspan, big catch radius. So a guy that can, bring a lot to a team, especially in the red zone with those big tight ends. I like tight ends, big tight ends in the red zone, and Jelani Woods is a big tight end that can catch the ball. So, it's good to see him come back to fight back, to get back on the field, to stay on the field and practice and show what he can do, and then do it also in the preseason game. So it's good to see him going out there playing and playing well. And the tight end room as a whole, I thought did a good job.
Yeah.
As far as Ogletree and of course Tyler Warren, Mo Alley Cox, Will Mallory, all those guys played well and did a nice job during training camp. So it's going to be a good problem to have because the coach is going to have a tough decision to make what they do with all these guys and see who's going to be on the team moving forward after Tuesday.
Now, the final offensive player I wanted to talk about had a couple touchdowns today, and Ulysses Bentley the fourth. 8 carries, 32 yards, 4 yard per carry average, a couple touchdowns, and depth at the running back position is always vital. You know what
Yep.
you have in Jonathan Taylor, but there's a reason that this team drafted DJ Giddens, went out in free agency and signed Khalil Herbert. We know what Tyler Goodson has done to this point. Now, we've seen injuries to both Herbert and Goodson. We know we saw
Yes.
Herbert back at practice. But depth at running back is just vital. So when you look at what Ulysses Bentley IV has been able to put out there on preseason, I think it's really, really good stuff what he has been able to give to this team. And there he's going to make it really, really challenging on Tuesday because you know how important the depth is, and especially at the running back spot, injuries just happen.
Yeah, injuries is happening, especially when you start getting the ball to the back and they get running the ball 20, 25 times a game and getting hit by those big linemen and linebackers and things like that. Eventually, unfortunately, guys are going to get banged up and they might miss a game here or miss a game there. So you want to have depth at the running back position. You want those guys to be able to uh, bounce in there and not miss a beat and hopefully not change things on your offense. So it's going to be very important for the Colts to have depth there at the running back position. So he showed himself that he can play. He can go out there and make plays out there, run the ball hard, run the ball very physical, and be a guy out there that can carry the load for a while. But you know what? He did what he needed to do. He ran hard, went out and have a big game today. Not a big game, but had a good game today, scoring 2 touchdowns for the team. So he did what he had to do.
Right.
We talked about this before. When young guys get the opportunity to go out there and play, they have to shine, have to show what they can do on the football field. So coaches can have confidence in them that, hey, they can do the job. And I think Bentley did that definitely today with the 2 touchdowns he scored.
Now, a couple guys defensively I wanted to highlight before we move on here, but Daniel Scott probably had one of the plays of the game, that 35-yard pick six in the first quarter to extend that lead to 10-0. Daniel Scott's story has been tough. He's a fifth-round pick back in 2023, but he had back-to-back season-ending injuries before training camp. So if you think about it, his first 2 NFL seasons, he didn't even get to participate in camp. So this has been his first training camp, and he has really been able to make a bunch of splash plays. We saw an interception last week in the game against the Packers. It was taken back because of a penalty, but today the pick six stuck, and he's also proven that not only can he play safety, but his college days, he was a key special teamer, and we saw him have a really nice play on, an open field tackle on a punt in special teams today, where especially when you think about the injuries to Ashton Doolin and Tyler Goodson, who are kind of your gunners on special team, he was able to kind of slide into one of those positions and really make a nice play on special teams. So that ability to play special teams and defense doesn't go unnoticed.
Oh, it definitely doesn't go unnoticed knowing that the guy wants to just play. I mean, the guy was banged up. He's injured. He missed 2 years starting his career off, and that was tough. So I know for a young guy coming in, being injured, not being able to play, is tough. And then going through the rehab process, trying to get back on the field. You do it the first year, you get back, you're ready to go. Then all of a sudden you get hurt again. You injured, you're not back on the field. Then having to go through that again and go back on the field. Give the young man credit for just sticking it out and not giving up and keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and get back on the football field. And as you said today, making a nice interception, and not just an interception, but a pick six to take it
Yeah.
back for the end zone for the Colts to get a score out of the play, and then playing on special teams. Those are things that guys like Daniel Scott, young guys, are going to have to do. Go out there and make their name on special teams, play special teams so that, hey, they can show that I can do more than just play safety. I could do more than just play defense. I can play special teams. Put me on the punt. Put me on the kickoff. I want to be on those special teams so I can contribute to the team. And Daniel Scott is showing that as he goes out there and plays. And today was one of those days where, you know what? He just said, hey, look, I'm going to go out there. Hopefully I can make a play when the opportunity comes. And he made a play within the scheme of the defense. He didn't go out and do something crazy and make a play. He did it within the scheme of the defense, made a play, got a pick six. And those are things that go well for a young man when you do things like that to help you hopefully make a team.
Now, the last player on defense I want to highlight is Eric Johnson.
Hmm.
Johnson was originally drafted by the Colts in 2022, spent the 2022 and 2023 seasons in Indy, and then 2024 season was with the Patriots before being released and signed back in Indianapolis. And he led the Colts in tackles during the preseason. Not often do you see a defensive tackle do that, but he had 14 total tackles in the preseason, and we know what depth behind DeForest Buckner and
Oof.
Grover Stewart mean because those guys, they're probably the best tandem defensive tackle in the league, but they can't play every single play. So you're going to be able to have depth back there. And I think Eric Johnson really put in a good effort this whole camp to kind of prove that maybe he's one of those guys that is, got a nice little call on Tuesday saying he's going to be added depth in this Colts room.
Yeah, I'm sure he's hoping for that call on Tuesday to be a part of this team because you know what? He went out there and played hard, and that's what the Colts are going to need. They're going to need depth at the defensive line. As you said, Casey, we know what DeForest Buckner is going to give us. We know what Grover Stewart is going to give us. But after that, you want to make sure you have guys, they're in the middle, that can play the run, hopefully stop the run and slow teams down. And then when it's called upon for them to make a pass rush, to get a rush, to get the pressure on the quarterback, they can do it as well because you're going to want your top line guys, especially in crucial situations, to be out there in the football field. Those top line guys, they can't play all those plays. They're going to get worn down by the end of the game. So you're going to need guys that are the backups to come in and relieve those guys some so that help those guys rest up so they can be fresh come the end of the game. So a guy like Eric Johnson making those plays, having all those tackles, as you talked about, Casey, you're going to need guys like that to produce when they have an opportunity. And that's the biggest thing. It's not so much the guys that are starting or guys or backups. It's that when you're in the game, you are the starter for that play. And you have to go out there and you have to make a play. Yes, you might not start the game, so you're not called a starter. But when you're in that play, whatever play it may be, play 15, play 25, whatever it is, for that play, you are a starter. And you have to play like a starter. You have to go out there and make plays. So whenever those guys get in the game, they have to play big and make plays for the team because that's only going to help the team out to hopefully reach their goals.
Now, a couple things here to close here, Bill. We know Tuesday is roster cuts from you. You've been a guy who you've had friends cut. You know how difficult it is. How is it from one of the guys who, your time, you were safe on that bubble? I know at one point you weren't, but there are times where you were pretty safe. How is it for those guys who know this locker room is going to be drastically different come next week?
Well, for the guys that are, they're going to be on the team and know that some of the guys that they have built a relationship with and are close with, that's gonna leave. It's gonna be tough for them. It's gonna be tough for those guys. It's not easy to have, say, a close friend to leave and has to go somewhere else, and you're not gonna see them for a while until the off season or whatever. And you hope that they get picked up by someone else. But it's tough for those guys to see a friend leave. Now, for the guys that unfortunately that might not make it, it's tough for them as well because they don't know if they're going to get another chance or not, and then it's one of those things. They hope they get another chance, but they don't know, and there's a lot of uncertainty during that time period. So it's very difficult for those guys, and thinking that, hey, maybe I'll get a chance, maybe I won't. I'm not sure. And for them to have to leave, it's not easy, and you just hope you get a phone call from your agent saying, hey, this other team wants to come and give you a tryout, so come on in and try out. But it's going to be difficult. But you know what? Right now, between now and then, I would say, and it's easy for me to say because I'm here, I'm not playing right now. Right. Don't worry about it. If you've done all you can, you went out there and gave everything you had on the football field, the meeting room, weight room, out there in the practice field, there's nothing you could do about it now. It's in the coach's hands to make a decision. Just hope the best, and hopefully that you're on the team after Tuesday, and you can prepare that way and just enjoy these next couple of days and just have fun.
Now, the Colts will have a little bit of a break before the regular season starts. They'll host the Miami Dolphins on September 7th, which is 3 Sundays from tomorrow. So we've talked about that importance of getting off to a fast start. Having a home game to start is a really good way to do that. So how important are these next couple weeks as they begin to game plan for the Dolphins?
It's going to be very important. You want to start your preparation as early as possible to get ready for the Miami Dolphins because you want to get off to a good start. And right now, it's all about the regular season now, getting ready for the regular season. After the rosters have been set, it's about preparing. Whatever it takes to prepare to play the Miami Dolphins for the first regular season home game. And that's all that matters right now to these guys that are going to be on the team. Focus on that and let's get off to a good start because you want to get off to a good start. You don't want to wait to the end of the season to say, oh, we need to win these games to get into the playoffs. Give yourself a little cushion. Yes, you want to play well at the end of the season, so you want to hopefully play well so you can get into the playoffs, and when you're going into the playoffs, you are playing well. But you want to get off to a good start and start fast, and hopefully the Colts can do that this year against Miami Dolphins. Start off fast at home, get that first AFC win, get that first home win in a long time as far as the beginning of the regular season, and that will go a long ways for those Colts.
Well, that's going to do it for Instant Reaction following the preseason finale where the Colts defeat the Bengals in Cincinnati 41-14. As I mentioned and Bill talked about, the team will cut the roster down to 53 players on Tuesday. You can follow us on Colts.com and all of the Colts social channels for all that information when it happens. But for Bill Brooks, I'm Casey Vallier. Thank you so much for joining us on Instant Reaction, part of the Indianapolis Colts podcast. We will talk to you next following that Week 1 matchup between the Colts and the Dolphins. Have a good one. Thank you so much.